Our guest speaker is from the Kerby Center here. She's a registered social worker, certified professional consultant on aging, and please give a Prostate Calgary welcome to Luanne Whitmarsh.
All right, how are you all doing? It's lovely to be here this evening, but let's fix this. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay. Okay, so what the joy of the Kerby Center building is that we freeze in the winter and we cook in the summer. How are we doing so far? Don't sit too close to someone that you don't know, because it might be just a little too telling. What I wanted to do this evening is, first of all, thank you for coming to Kerby Center. We are very proud of what we do and give you some update information and tell you what we're working on for the future. A little louder if I do that. Does that help? Yes? Okay. Does that work? Okay. So we have a standing mic that we got disappeared through the Blues Fest. Is that the one that was just here? The Blues Fest was just here. Someone might still be dancing with it. I just don't know. Okay, so I'm asked to talk about enhancing our lives. So the mission of Kerby Center is to assist older people to live as well as possible for as long as possible as residents in the community. Our entire existence is to help people stay in their home locations for as long as possible. So we do a lot of advocacy. Especially around home care and supports around the home, because a lot of people don't need to move out of their home. They just need some levels of support sometimes. So we sit at a lot of tables and do a lot of advocacy on behalf of those folks. The other thing I think I like to say is, the moment that you're born, you start aging. And I think that it's really important that we're trying to get away from age-related sort of topics being the thing that freaks us out the most. I like to also say that our building used to be Mount Royal College, and I'll talk about that in a second, built in 1947. And it is showing its age. And what's really kind of interesting about that is it didn't get a lot of care and attention. See how I did that? It works together. So just a little bit of history. Kerby Center began in 1973 in response to a collaborative that was meeting to address the needs of older people at that time. And then we became incorporated in 1976. Our name honestly came from the building. It's not that unique. The original use of the building was for a boys' school, and then really quickly it became Mount Royal College. The first principal, Dr. George Kerby, and then the rest, as I say, is history. It is really, honestly wonderful that we don't have some of the traditional words in our name, because we can attract younger people just because we're not called something called silver and golden, aging and senior and elderly and all those kinds of things that have quite negative connotations. And so we're kind of lucky that way. And when the LRT came screeching through the front of our building, we asked them to not put Kerby on the LRT stop name. And we didn't win that war. We won many, but we didn't win that particular war. And the reason that we didn't want to have this be called Kerby is we had already made the decision to move, and we think that it's kind of ridiculous to have the Kerby Center somewhere else, the bus stop here called Kerby, and it's just a little confusing. So I think the city kind of helped us realize we might have to have a name change when we move. So today we have 67 employees, which is about 52 people in a full-time equivalence. We have 450 volunteers. Annually, those volunteers provide 60,000 hours of direct service. Without our volunteers, we would be a very different organization. We really couldn't provide the depth that we do without all the support that they do. We're guided by a board of directors of, right now there's 10 people, because there's 2 seats that are open. And we work in harmony with all levels of government and the other older adult serving agencies, and we are sought after to help guide policy and practice throughout Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and now the US. We belong to tons of things. These are the ones that are sort of the more organized groups that we belong to. The Alberta Association of Senior Centres, Kerby Centre, and the group in Edmonton called Seniors Association of Greater Edmonton. I always remember their acronym better. We believe that the bigger organizations need to step up in a broader way and make sure that the smaller organizations are benefiting from the research, the best practices, and we need to be more cooperative, and we need to have the province in more harmony. And so we began that, and we have, I think the last number is 42 or something, senior centers that belong to that. And so we're already seeing the benefits of that. The Older Adult Service Provider Council of Calgary, Providers of Calgary, that is within the Calgary region, putting a table together so that all organizations that serve older adults, again, can come together, stop the duplication, stop some of the territorial kinds of things that happen. You know, just because we do a particular program doesn't mean someone else shouldn't because it's in a different district or have a different mission. But maybe we should talk about that and sort of, it's the same tax dollar that we're all fighting for. It's the same fundraise dollar that we're all fighting for. And so we're trying to put things in a more organized, friendly, outcome-based kind of process. The International Council on Active Aging, I've been part of this group now for 4.5 years, and it is really an exciting organization. If you're into doing research, if you could just go into the ICAA website, you'll find a lot of really neat active aging bits of information and research. It's really interesting. We're on both the Canadian, Alberta and Canadian Calgary Association for Gerontology, the Canadian and Calgary Association for Retired Persons. A lot of people just know it as CARP. We also belong to the National Association of Senior Centers, which honestly is a US-based group. And the reason that we belong to that group is because the United States is way better at doing research than Canada is. And then Canada is way better at implementing it than the US is. So we go to many conferences and have many different partnerships so that we can learn from that research and apply it applicably. And we've really seen some successes so that when we go to conferences, they're excellent at doing research. And then we go, we already did that because we'd already seen some of that research. And Zoomer Media is a piece of growth that came out of the CARP group, and they're really, really targeting the boomers and trying to get them involved so that, again, it's not so scary as people get older, and we can actually talk about it without getting all kind of concerned. And we help a lot of people. It's really a huge statistic, but annually we have, I think last year was 152,000 contacts, touchdown points for people in our building and in the community that we work with. And so that's not unique people, but that's 152 meetings, appointments, going to the community, presentations, those kinds of things. We estimate, because we don't have a way of saying how many particular people are here, because it's a public facility, you don't have to be a member, and so we estimate that somewhere around 20,000 unique people access our building, our services, and we go into the community with them annually. We have 3,000 members, so that's people who are dedicated members, and they have, of course, privileges at the AGM and those kinds of things as well. They have a reduction in all the costs of the events and things that go here. We are a receiving center for disasters in Calgary, and some of you might remember that just across the street, the Marquee had a huge flood. I think that was 2 years ago now, or maybe 2.5. They had all kinds of pipes burst and things in the middle of the winter, and they all ended up over here, and we kept everybody safe and warm and fed, and that turned out to be a really good experience because people felt really supported. We were appointed to the Seniors Advisory Council of Alberta. I'm actually that representative, and the point of SACA, as it's called, is to advise directly to the minister on issues regarding older adults. And I can tell you that we've made changes. It's really interesting because we get to be vocal. We get to say, that doesn't work. The boots on the ground are telling us that that policy that you're thinking of is not going to work. And you don't have to be vetted all the way through all the bureaucrats. You get to talk directly to the minister, and we've actually seen some real positive outcome of that. The results-based budgeting, I'm the person associated to that as well. And that is the new way government is looking at accountability. It suggests that they're a little delayed on that, but hopefully they'll pick it up now. And so every ministry is responsible to present their budget now to a community panel. And so I'm on the community panel for wellness, so a piece of the health portfolio. And what's fun, if you're a political-minded person, you'll enjoy this, is that you just get to go, I don't like it. How could that possibly be something that you think that you could sell to me? And if I was working here, I could save you, $2 million, because I can tell you in the community we can do it better, faster, and have better outcomes. And again, it's kind of one of those things where you love being at the table because you can kind of be a little bit controversial and have a little bit of fun with it. For 4 years, I chaired the Mount Royal University Social Work Advisory Council, and that's really an important council because Mount Royal University is going through an accreditation program for their social work, so it could be a degree program in addition to the diploma program. And we went through accreditation, which was an amazing experience, and happy to say that we were successful at getting accredited for them. And we belong to all the Calgary housing and program collaboratives that are in the city as well. Here's what we can offer. We offer safety. We have a shelter for abused and homeless adults. What you might not know is Kerby Centre was the very first purpose-built shelter for those older adults that were experiencing elder abuse. It was built in 1999, and there was a whole lot of fundraising that went on to make that happen. We are sought after all across North America. People come here, they learn our system, and they duplicate parts of it. They take our policies and our procedures, and that is something that we are very proud of. 4 years ago, we also got funding, a private funder that came through to have 6 beds for homeless older adults, and that money has run out, and we are just struggling like a son of a gun trying to get that funded again. We turn away somewhere around 150 people a month that are homeless, and we have 6 beds, and we may have to actually, to be frank with you, we may have to close those beds soon because we just don't have the money to keep them open. And to save our souls, we haven't been successful at replacing the money that we had from a private funder. So we have 9 beds that are funded by the government for the elder abuse, and 6 that are not, and those 6 beds are the ones that are in jeopardy. Our information, we can offer information, through our Information Resources Department, which that includes personal directives, housing, pensions, contractor database, pro bono lawyer service, directory of services, income tax preparation. So we have a person on staff that is connected right to the provincial government for the pensions. So when you come in and you say, I need to set up my pension, we can do that by sitting across the desk, and instead of all the 1-800 numbers and trying to figure it out, and it can be very complicated. Also, if your situation changes or you have an emergency or you need some additional information, then you can come on in and we'll certainly help you with that. We have a wellness clinic that is primarily foot care, but we also do blood pressure checks, medication reviews, diabetic and glucose testing, and we're just started building a couple of really neat partnerships for eye care, dental care, and chiropractic. So we're expanding our wellness clinic services here quite quickly. Learning and active aging through our Education and Recreation Department. So that's language, arts, craft, fitness, and that's Frail to Fit, dance, sing, and drama. And so we put on productions, our groups here put on productions, and they are just so much fun. So if you check out our website, you'll often see different things that are happening. We have, forgot what it's called, World War II singing or something coming up. I'm probably saying it wrong, but we have a lot of really cool things that happen here. We had from Denmark, I think it was. Last year we had the World War II singing troupe come through. They were very, very excellent. And they put on a show and people are still raving about it. So we can party too. More that we can offer is food. You get catered here every time you meet. And we also have a restaurant here, and we have breakfast and lunch at our restaurant. Don't forget to celebrate your special events here. We have lots of special events, birthdays, anniversaries, all kinds of things. Sadly, we also have a lot of memorial services here. Our day support. So through our adult day program, if you are supporting a loved one at home and you need a break, this is a caregiver program. So your loved one would come here for the day, and there's all kinds of exercises and socialization and stimulation, and they're just busy, busy, busy all the time. And then the caregiver gets a break. That's the day that you can visit with someone, sleep in, have an extra long bath without worrying about what your loved one is doing. And that is a hugely successful program. We're one of, I think, 7 in the city, and it is a really important program to sustain people being able to stay home. Because if people don't take breaks, then they also become ill, and that family unit breaks down, and people go into care. Groceries. Through our grocery delivery program, low-income people have their groceries delivered to them, so again, they can stay home and they can stay healthy. So a lot of people can do fine staying home, but they don't have the stamina or ability to go out and do grocery shopping and then get them home and get them into the cupboards. And we have, I think it's 47 volunteers that do the shopping. We have a couple of staff that organize it. And honestly, we get so many wonderful letters of thank you from the families of these folks and these folks as well, because they get to stay home for years and years longer by being supported. And then we have global information, so that's through our Kerby News. We deliver 30,000 copies monthly, and this information is all the local happenings, research, and interesting articles. We actively keep our Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter accounts ready for information as well. And actually, that's actually a lot of work. Sometimes I'm not really sure the amount of hours that are dedicated to that to make sure that it's worthwhile. There's also the opportunity to give back through our volunteer department. Many therapeutic approaches suggest that by giving to others, you're really helping yourself. So think about that. I'll get it. And I wanted to also tell you a little bit about our future. So through an extensive stakeholder engagement process, the board made a dynamic decision to build a new purpose-built Kerby Centre that would address the increased demand for services. We are so over capacity right now, it is just incredible. We have people sitting on top of each other on desks because we are just trying to meet the needs. The negative consequences of the LRT. You know, I think people would be surprised about how we are unhappy with the LRT. We predicted that we would have difficulties, and it's been double the difficulties of what have actually happened. So we now have the criminal and homeless element in our building 24 hours a day. If the door's open, then we're kicking somebody out of here. We actually also have a huge problem with people using our land as a toilet. And so every day we have to have the maintenance team go out and pick up fecal material and wipe up the urine because that's what we walk into every single day. We have found a gun in our flower beds. We've had people trying to bust doors down. We really work hard at trying to keep people who visit the Kerby Centre safe from panhandlers, and so if we see somebody out there, we shoo them away really quickly. That's weird to us. That's new to us. I mean, it's not that anywhere in the city this couldn't happen, but it's at our doorstep now, and it is really a problem situation. The parking lot across the tracks, we call it the north parking lot, is also rented to Kerby Centre from the Alberta government, just like this building is. And we've been told that, as you can well imagine, that's a very pricey piece of land, and there is active bidding, active interest in that land. And if we lose our parking, we don't have anywhere for people to come. And our last parking study showed that 72% of the people that come to Kerby Centre come by their vehicle. And so that would have a huge negative consequence on on Kerby Centre and the people should that end up happening. And our building, we love cooking in the summer and freezing in the winter, but honestly, it's not just that, it's falling apart. People will be typing at their desks and light fixtures will fall down. And the cost to repair this building is insurmountable. There was a study done in, I believe it was 2009, and that study showed that in order to bring this building up to code, not even just to make it pretty, but to bring it up to code, was somewhere around $18 million. And so, as you can well imagine, the government saying no thanks. So where are we at with that? Well, we've completed the functional analysis of how much space we will require. And this social worker learned things that I never knew I needed to know. So adjacencies and how things work together and all the different disciplines that you have to engage and how much they fight and don't agree with each other. It's been quite an experience. We've worked diligently with all levels of government, and we have all levels of government being very supportive and really encouraging us to build specific and that they will support that. We've hired a planning consultant, project manager, government and fund development consultant, and we're working really hard because everyone has a lot of things to do. I do all this work in addition to running the operations here at Kerby Centre, and some days you sort of think, oh my goodness, you work hard. We do have a preferred site, probably some of you have heard about that. Well, we've worked on now for quite a time, which is the Jake site on Bow Trail. So as you go up Bow Trail in between 24th and 26th, there's those decommissioned like little kind of townhomes. Is that the right word? Mobile homes is the one I'm thinking of. And so that land is such rich land, it's great. But it comes with its set of interesting challenges because it has a huge slope on it, and there's very archaic water, sewer pipes and things. And so we're still working on that as our preferred site, but there is 2 other sites that we're working on as well. And so our board of directors is hoping to have something that we can say, this is where we're going to go at the end of the year. So hopefully we'll have something more concrete to go with that. We'll always be central. We probably won't be downtown. The Jake's isn't downtown-ish, but we know that we need to be central because we serve the whole city. And people have been really clear that they need us to be central and they need to have transit to us as well. So we hope not to have the LRT in the front of the building because then that brings in all the other stuff, but you just never know. And so what's next for the move? Well, of course, the land is really important because you can't go starting to advocate to government for money if you don't have the land. And so that's the first thing. And as always, as you can well imagine, we need money and continued enthusiasm. Because honestly, this stuff is really, really exhausting to do. And I'm not a real patient person. I kind of am a doer, let's get at it. And all these things take so much time. You know, you apply to the city for something and it takes 1.5 years to get an answer. And so all the other things you can do is great, but then you're sort of waiting, wondering if the work you're doing is for naught because you haven't got that original piece done. And so it can be both expensive and frustrating. And for you, thank you so much for your partnership and being here with Kerby Centre. We really appreciate both everything that you do and that you include us in some of your promotion materials. We are continuing to partner with the Man Van. We know that it's really, really important to do that. So I would like you to think about specific needs or desires you have, and then let me know what that is. We're consistently starting new programs, and we would be delighted to hear some more. We have so much in common. Let's just build on that. You can also join the Kerby Centre. It's $22 a year. And if you're in the Kerby building, then you pay $3 for parking down here. You have to be in our building because we tow, because a lot of people try to steal our parking. We do want it to be available for our Kerby members. And also think about volunteering. Apply to be on the board. It's an amazing time of growth, and you would be on the ground. You can come and build with us. And finally, I just wanted to leave this with you, that success is an iceberg. The very top part is what people see. So people will only see the top of what the iceberg is. Underneath all that is what you have is hard work and habits and sacrifice, failure, persistence, goals, focus, and risk. That's what really happens. When you see the success, when you see the Kerby building being built, you're going to go, wow, that's really cool. And just to remember, in life, in general, it's all the other stuff that goes into making that success happen. I thank you very much. It's been a pleasure bringing Kerby Centre to you. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions if there's any. Oh, but there's no questions. No? Yes?
Out of curiosity, what is the average age of membership in this center?
I think I remember part of this. Our average age is somewhere around 70, and it's getting younger and younger. And so we have been quite successful in attracting the younger, older adult. So what we've done is we have engaged the boomers, the younger, older adults, in regards to what they need for their parents, and then they continue and stay to be involved. And we're finding some real big successes with that. And so we're increasing our membership, and they're getting younger. Yes?
I want to express my appreciation for receiving my mother back in the 80s, who did some volunteer work in the library, I understand, and joined some of the dance classes.
Love it,
She's
yes.
not dancing anymore.
Yes, we have a couple of different dance classes that happen here, and if you, periodically I'm looking for somebody or someone's looking for someone and I'm helping them, and you get whipped in the middle of the floor and you're dancing while you're looking around because they don't take no for an answer. So it's a busy place. Like I say, there's a lot of people here every day. We have our expo coming up, and that is a 2-day affair where we have the gymnasium full of booths all about older adult services and what you need, it's free. Come on over. It's September 10th and 11th, if that's the Wednesday and Thursday. And we also this year have a really cool thing we're trying out. We have an art exhibit from 1952, I think it is, which is all the old buildings of stuff of Calgary, and we're going to be displaying that in partnership with that group as well through the Glenbow. So if you can come, that would be fantastic. And if you just want to, talk to me, I left some business cards over in the corner there, so you're welcome to think about what it is that you need, and if we don't know, we have a tremendous Rolodex of where everything else is in the city, and so we'd be delighted to help you with that.
And one other question, how do you organize the income tax preparation? Is that a seasonal thing, I presume?
Well, we are one of the recipients of, the Government of Canada has a program where they allow you, the Kerby Centre, to be the, so we have to do a specific training to the volunteers, and we can only do it for low-income folks. And we have, I think it's 20 or so volunteers that do the income tax, and it is so crazy. This year we did 1,500 or something. I mean, it's just crazy around here. And, income tax, who has fun doing income tax? So we try to make it fun, but it's really tough.
Presumably that's March and April.
It is, yeah. And this year we went into the first week in May because there was so many people, we just couldn't get everything done. So we ended up going a bit longer this year as well. Yes?
Do you have any programs for seniors or the computers, smartphones?
Oh yes, actually, yeah, we have a lot of computer programs that are in our array, and we're just starting how to use your iPhone. There's an iPad course. How to use Facebook. There's a few brand new courses that are starting in September, and it actually might even be in the August Kerby News. And it's just in the stand out by the reception desk. So grab the Kerby News on the way out, and there's the seniors, there's a directory of services and the housing directory there as well. Just grab them and take one. But we've challenged the Ed and Rec department to step it up for technology because everybody's becoming both interested and more skilled, and so we've been stepping it up in technology classes as well. I love telling the story of this one lady, and she's allowed me to say she was 81. And she came into a fearful kind of class. She'd never even turned on a computer. In fact, she thought they were darned ugly. And so she's around here quite a bit, and she's very comical. And so she went in there kind of like, as if it was going to bite as you walked in the door. And when she went in there, she sat down and she goes, I think this is stupid. And so the instructor thought, oh goodness, we're going to have a hard time working this through. And so the instructor said, okay, this is for this particular machine, how you turn it on. And the lady didn't want to turn it on. And she says, well, I don't know what to do. And she says, I'm telling Luanne that you don't know how to teach. And so I get hauled in there because we don't want unhappy customers. And so I get hauled in there. And as soon as I realized who it was, I knew it was going to be a challenge. And so I said, okay, so if you don't turn it on, then you won't have a chance to know how truly clever you are. And therefore, the goal you told me was that you wanted to be able to connect with your grandchildren who don't live in Calgary. Then I guess that wasn't as important to you, and that's okay. And she looked at me and she goes, you don't have to be a little smart ASS. And I said, well, you know what, it's okay. Then turn around and don't go to the class. And don't you know, she's now really quite comfortable. She's Facebooking with the grandchildren, and she's sending them photos and looking at photos. And I seen her, maybe 3 weeks or so ago now, and she goes, I still think you're one of those. And that's okay, because you know what? Not everything is for everybody, and that's why when you have a Kerby Center, that you provide this real multitude of what's going on, you're going to hit something for somebody, sure as heck. Right now, our woodworking shop, the city was kind enough to dump a little bit of sewer in it. And so it's been gutted at the moment. And the folks, mostly gentlemen, but there are a few ladies that use the woodworking shop, are anxious, as you can well imagine, because they come here both for socializing and keeping skills going. And we miss them because they fix everything, because they actually know how to do all that stuff. The social workers go, I don't know what to do with that. And so we're really missing them. And so they're just, was it yesterday, started putting things back together. So hopefully at some point we'll have our woodworking shop back as well. Yes?
Do you offer other kind of fitness programs?
So we have all the way from frail to fit, and we have excursions. We have hiking excursions that go out of the city and go onto the bus, and away you go. We have walking, we have Zumba and all the really high impact kind of ones. And we have a fitness center right here in the building with all very top of the line equipment. And then we also have pickleball, tennis. We have badminton. We have quite a few things that you should look at. All right, you guys. I'll let you carry on with your meeting. Kerby Center welcomes you and thanks you. Have a wonderful evening.